Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening on this beautiful Sunday evening in the UK. We've got some really great weather, which we had today. Hot and sunny. People could wear their shorts. Everybody getting excited because guess what? The sun is back in the UK. The sun is come out today, so everybody's excited about that in the UK. What can I say? But at the same time, I believe some of the sun could be because we have been having lots of engagement with different Jamaicans, and therefore they somehow send the sun across, definitely as well. I noticed my good friend James Cleverly, the Foreign Secretary, a good friend of mine, is in Jamaica of recent days to the Conservative Party. So I'm sure I'm going to ask James to bring back some great weather as well. Now, I'm going to be very quick and get straight to the point because uh, last night we had a very interesting show, and the show was really about this major hike with the salaries. I coined the show "Hike Yikes," you know, and while at the same time I'm sort of bringing it to the fore and letting persons actually familiarize themselves from the diaspora. I felt it's also very important. And let me go back because I had Miss Professor Rosalie Hamilton on the show some time ago, and she was sort of setting the stage of what Advocacy Network is about. And tonight, what I want to do is to take it to another level because I believe in training and I believe in education and I believe in equipping persons with tools as much as possible I can. I believe to be a strong facilitator for these process. So I'm going to be having tonight Miss Jeanette Calder. As I mentioned before, she's the executive director of Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal and talks about advocacy for better public governance. We've been talking about what can we do. Many people have been saying, what can I do? People are frustrated. People are a bit annoyed when they see things happening. Even the latest with the salary bit in Jamaica. What can I do when they believe there's corruption? What can I do? How can I monitor these things? People from the diaspora would like to actually get a bit of more information. How can this be done? And I believe tonight, Miss Calder will be setting out some of the ways how it can be done, some of the tools which are more important, how it can be done, and somehow to equip people. And I think that's the most important thing, equipping people. Now, I want to thank you for coming on. Those who are on Facebook, uh, thank you for coming on. Those who are on Instagram, I must say, as I look over there, it is just invitation to treat, as I say, Lord. It's an invitation to come over onto the YouTube page, and for TikTok as well. The main page is going to be YouTube, but the most important thing is that what we'll do is give as much tools as possible and bring Miss Calder across sometime later. I see Rosemary Brinder. You are saying sunshine. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Well, that's great. Well, without further ado, I'm going to bring in Miss Calder, and we're going to get the show rolling. Okay. Thank you. Good evening, Miss Calder. How are you doing?
Good evening, Silver. Well,
Yeah,
better now that I'm with you. I'm good, thank you.
awesome. Well, you can bring through the sunshine as well into the fair. One of the things that I like to do as much as possible is to touch base with Jamaicans because it brings you back at home. I remember when I came to the UK in 1992, and I was at law school and going through Brixton sometimes. It sort of reminded me of home because yes, some people are cuss some bad word and everything. I'm just close my eyes and say, yes, me there yard, me there yard. Just that feeling there, I'm trying to say. And and even when I met Mr. What's his name? Mr. Joseph Patterson last week in House of Commons and Westminster, because I like to talk to everybody and just being there, just the linking with the Jamaica. That's great. So you're now my sunshine now. You bring this.
Happy to be anytime.
Well,
Although I suspect, Silver, and you have more than I do today from the sound of it. Yeah.
you know, ladies and gentlemen, what I can say very much is that the purpose of this show tonight is it's what has driven the show. What has driven the show really it is about the recent salary increase by the government sector in Jamaica, and a lot of people are really annoyed by it, and many people are Jamaicans feeling frustrated. They want to take action, but they don't know what to do and how to go about it. and Miss Calder is here tonight to sort of show and help Jamaicans how this can be done. And many people might be saying, "But hang on, Sibber, you're in the UK. You're in the UK. What's your business?" And I always say this all the while. Well, I'm come from Ochi, straight out of Ochi, Jamaica. I have a vested interest in Jamaica, and no
Yeah,
matter
great
what,
stuff.
I'll always be there. What do you think about that?
Amen to that. You can never not be a son of the soil. That's not something you can extricate, Silburn. Your family, argument done.
Argument done. And my sisters in Jamaica, they're all in Jamaica. They would say when I'm going out with my foolishness, they say, idiot boy." Go to
Well,
England and
I,
go to England and get mad.
I trust you won't give me any reason to say that to you tonight, right?
Definitely not, you know. But Jeanette, let's go straight to it. What is JAMP? JAMP.
The
Yeah.
name gives it away, I hope. The Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal is really the name. We're owning it as
Mm,
Jamaicans. Accountability is our focus because we're only talking and thinking development now, right? And I know
yes.
everybody can relate to what I'm about to say. There's nobody on this podcast, none,
Yes.
who achieved anything in life from the smallest to the biggest goal without some kind of accountability. Early
Yes.
in your life, you know, the pastor, your grandmother, girls' guide, scout teacher, whomever it was, farm teacher, somebody was holding you to account, especially when you were getting off track. You get to the
Mm,
stage where personal accountability now, nobody's watching over you, but you got to carry it forward yourself. And
yes.
that would be true corporate accountability for any successful company in Jamaica. And
Mm,
naturally, if it's working on a personal level and a corporate level, then it must be the master key to achieving what you want on a national level. So
yes.
JAMP is about focusing what we think is the master key to real success for Jamaica. And the word portal, it kind of
Yes.
connotes that we are in the digital era and there is
Yes.
a dimension that we want to cross through. But most importantly, is that this was built with the diaspora in mind. This is not something I'm saying because I'm here. It's because I've been where most of your listeners are, and I was really hungry to stay in touch and participate. So whatever we came up with, I really wanted to make sure that it didn't matter, and not just the diaspora still. You know, people say,
Yes.
boy, if you're there, Kingston is like nobody no remember you. So we
Mm,
wanted all Jamaicans from the length and breadth to be able to participate in anything that was happening from a governance and development standpoint.
yes.
So we built a tool online
Yes.
to do just
Yes.
that.
Now, it's interesting that you mentioned a while ago about this is a tool for the diaspora, and the diaspora initiative has been going on from 2004. Was this in something in concert with that initiative,
No,
or was it an
no.
independent? Yeah.
It was totally independent, and it's very difficult to tell when did the idea. You know how things are. There's residue
Yes.
that's left on you with each of your experiences. But I don't think in 2004 I was thinking any at all about what I'm doing today. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Well, you're a former diaspora member at the same
Yes.
time, and
Correct.
what's your story? How you actually was there some sort of felt need or some push or something that drove you to go back to Jamaica and also getting involved with JAMP?
Well, interestingly enough, still, the very thing that drove me
Mm,
out is what brought me back in. I left because as
yeah.
a public servant, I wanted to retool. What I was doing was something I loved. I was running a joint venture housing program for the government of Jamaica at the time. My training is actually in architecture. But you know, architecture and what I was doing, there was still a little bit of disconnect. So I left to go and retool in the Netherlands. And
Mm,
I thought I was going to be there for a year studying, doing a master's in urban management and development in Rotterdam. But when the time came for me to come back, the construction industry was on a downturn. And the
mm,
university wanted to have me. I graduated at the top of the class. And I thought, why not kill some time? So what started off as a 3-month contract just kept rolling over for a number of years until there was a policy passed in Jamaica called the Public Private Partnership Policy, which is the
yes.
idea of public sector and private sector working together to deliver services. And that was my area of specialization. So once I heard the policy was passed, I said,
Mm,
yes, man, jam
thank.
don't need me. And I came home with the intention and an offer to go back into government. So that's what took me back home. But that's also what brought me out. the pursuit of wanting to be better as a public servant and to come back and serve as a public servant.
What do you think about, like, Jamaicans really wanting to be a part of what's going on in Jamaica? And like now, even lots of
Mm,
people wanting to get involved,
yeah.
but sometimes even Jamaicans at home are actually saying, they are foreign,
Oh,
to do so and stuff like that. I get it a lot, you know. What do you say about that?
yeah, I have heard that kind of response. And I want to just say straight up, Silburn,
Mm,
maybe if I hadn't found myself in a situation abroad, maybe I would be saying the same thing and I wouldn't have actually understood. But I
mm,
think my friends back in the Netherlands would tell you that Jeanette lived in Jamaica. Her body was only in Farin, but her
foreign,
spirit
yeah.
and half of her mind was in Jamaica. So I would set my bedtime off the end of the evening programs in Jamaica. I would
Yes.
set my lunchtime based on what is happening so I could tune into the talk shows. And I never missed a gleaner and an observer. When I'm in Jamaica, far less in tune. I find that when you are away,
Very
there's
interesting.
a desire to know. It's like when you're at home, you assume you're going to know. So I was
Yes.
paying
Yeah.
attention. And then when I was paying
Mm,
attention and I was learning of the issues, I was yearning of a way to contribute. And the only option I had, Silburn, write the editor of the newspaper every now and again. And
yes.
that
Yes.
didn't feel like enough. So, I talked about the residue. So that left a residue on me, even from
Mm,
then, which is why JAMP exists, though I wasn't thinking of JAMP then. So my position is this. So, for instance, one time I was in the line to vote and we were talking about diaspora voting, killing some time.
yeah.
And somebody made the point, say, after them don't know what going down there, they don't know about no policy, them don't know. And I said,
Mm,
boss man, are you going in there to vote on policy? Is that how
yes.
you vote? So I didn't see the argumentation that you guys are don't know what is happening in Jamaica because most of the folks who line up to vote, guys, are voting on you and I know on what basis are talking about. Yes.
Mm,
So I didn't
mm,
think that
mm.
that should exempt any Jamaican. For me, the answer is this: you're a part of this family. I said it to you earlier. As long
Yes.
as you're a citizen of Jamaica, you belong. And I don't believe I get to set the tiers as to how you can decide to improve your country. That's how I feel about it.
I was looking to see if I could have shown him my Jamaican passport, which is legitimate, and it's my wife and I. It's up to date. Just
We
with just
believe you.
it's very it's just a quick one, because when you mentioned about you're so much in touch with Jamaica, I do
Yeah.
recall when my late dad was alive, and I used to call home and tell him what's going on in Jamaica. I say it all the while because, of
I'm
course,
telling you.
and my father used to say to my mother, "The boy there in England, I know what go on more than so." To the point that I used to write articles to the paper in Jamaica. I used to write to
Yes.
the Gleaner, to
There
the
you
Observer.
go.
I used to get letters of a day. The
There you go.
Gleaner gave me. I don't know where it
There
is.
you
I,
go.
I I got the Silver Pen Award,
Yes. Oh,
and Garfield Grandison. And I
nice.
came to I this is a big story. Big story. I came to Jamaica, and I was invited to down to the Gleaner office, and I was down there. My brethren lent me his car, and I was driving down to New Kingston, and I took the wrong route. Police, about six police circle around me, blue light on, and I was stopped and oh, you didn't hear me though. No, you didn't hear me.
I missed the story, but you know what?
Oh,
God know why.
all right. Where did you miss out? Where did you miss out from? Where did you
When
miss?
I heard about the police and I
Oh
felt,
yeah.
oh, this
No, I can say it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. The police gave me a
okay.
ticket. They gave me a ticket, $3,000 for the
Wow,
ticket, and
it
I
was
paid for
good.
it. It was,
But it was a lot
yeah.
of money back then, man. How,
It
when
was
was
three
that?
thousand. Yeah, I don't remember what it was. I got the ticket. I went to the Gleaner office. They escorted me to the Gleaner office.
Mm,
Um, I escorted me to the Gleaner office in downtown there and stuff like that. And Oliver Clark was there, and the previous Governor General, and Garfield Grandison. So
nice.
yeah, but the point about it is that
Yes,
I was
yes.
so much in tune with
Yeah,
Jamaica still,
absolutely.
even though
Yeah.
I was away. So much in tune as much
Mm,
as possible. So it's very important that we
yeah.
play that fundamental fundamental role in Jamaica. But how does JAMP benefit the Jamaican people? We talk about the diaspora. How does JAMP benefit people in Jamaica?
Yeah, because that's really who it's intended for. It's home and abroad.
Yeah.
We're playing what I want to call the long game, right? I think everybody here has heard when we ask about accountability, a statement that I
Mm.
find holds very little water. How do we hold our
Yes.
leaders, our political leaders to account? And the
Yes.
answer coming back usually is, well, when you go to the ballot box. And I think
Mm.
everybody knows we've been going to the ballot box now for 60 years and we haven't seen the change. Plus,
Yes.
many of us believe that we're really just rotating one for the other. So we
Yes.
move one out when we think, all right, let's give another one a chance. So I don't think the ballot box is holding anybody to account. It's something we say so we feel better. So for me
Mm.
personally, though the vote is important and I do it, I think the voice, Silburn, is more important during the space of the vote. So there are
Yes.
a lot of Jamaicans, because that's how I felt, who wanted to express myself, had ideas, but there was no easy channel to one, get information relevant to home beyond what you see in
Yes.
the papers. But I
Mm.
don't want you to just give me information, because everybody here can think of opening up the paper and just getting depressed by the information. You
Yes.
need to empower people to be able to do something with the information that they have. So JAMP came along with those two objectives: to provide relevant, empirical, non-subjective, government generated, that's very important,
Yes.
information about what's happening here, and then to empower the citizen wherever you are to be able to
Yes.
access those that are the brokers and the decision makers. That's how you fix something. If I give you one without the other, you can't
Yes.
get change. So that's it. That's basically it, still, and I know we'll do a demonstration shortly for
Yeah.
everybody.
And definitely unbiased.
Oh, it has to be. I mean,
Mm. Without a
Jamaicans are
doubt.
going to see bias where there is none, and I understand that's
Yeah.
a process we have to go through. But I'm
Mm.
going to repeat it because it bears repeating. All the data that you find on JAMP's website is data already in government, not created for JAMP, but citizens are busy thinking about their lives and surviving. So we get the data through the access to information legislation,
Yes.
and we place it in a place where it is more easily accessible. Nothing there is generated by JAMP. Everything comes from the government.
And the easy accessibility is very easy. Yes. To the sorry, the freedom of information.
Well, that's a really good question. I think
Yeah.
when I listen to others who utilize the access to information legislation, like the media and
Yes.
some other CSOs, I think it's fair to say that JAMP has done reasonably better than most. So just to give
Mm.
you an idea, when we started out in 2019 on the
Yes.
portal, we had a 44% turnaround for the things that we would ask government agencies for. In the 3.5 years that has passed, we're up to 78%. So
Mm.
that means, and this is what I want citizens to hear me saying today. When you start off, it ain't gonna be good. But if you just be a little tenacious
Hmm.
and respectful while you are being tenacious, I have found, let me give you one quick example. Parliament is key to what we need. When we
Yes.
started asking, we would get. We kept on asking, and the parliament said, you know what, Ms. Calder, we're just gonna send them to you by default. So the
Mm.
kind of information now that we get from the parliament, Silborn, is 90% of it just comes once the parliament generates the information. And that is wonderful. Who knew that would have been the case when we started? So our thing is
Yeah.
try and keep trying, they will respond. Yeah.
And therefore, what is happening? It is building and it is building, as we're saying. And what would you say? Okay, you sort of say, okay, you're getting going, but what's the popularity of its use so far? Like, people using the platform.
All right. So up until December, we only had three tools. We'll talk about them. But one is the
Yes.
accountometer that deals with the
Yes.
9-day wonders. One is a legislative tracker, because we think that every week major decisions are made in the parliament, like the one we heard of on Tuesday. But we
Yes.
need to demystify the parliament so people can understand it better. So we have one tracker that deals with that. And we have the one that people now find to be the most popular, to answer your question, is the
Yeah.
MP tracker. And as the name gives it away, it's the Member of Parliament tracker. So that's the one that is the pull for Jamaicans. And when they come, they see the others and they say, okay, let me check it out. But by far and wide, we are really serving the public with a lot of the data that we are providing on the MP tracker.
Should you give us some sort of demonstration as to the site so people can sort of get an understanding the tools that we're talking about? Would that be
Yes,
helpful now?
it would be more than helpful. Certainly, I think
Yeah.
so.
Okay, let me see if I can share the screen and then you take it home um in this moment here. Let me see. And ladies and gentlemen, please share this live at the same time on Facebook and YouTube and encourage persons to get onto it. Jamaica. Jam. Where is it? We were on it earlier, weren't we?
Oh,
No, no. Okay.
www.jampja.org.
Okay.
That's a
There we
quick.
are. Let me go to the home. Okay.
Sure.
So so there we are. We are at home. Okay. Is that correct?
Oh,
Everybody can see that, yes?
yeah, I can.
Uh, Okay, so you go ahead now. I'm your tool.
Oh,
I'm your hands.
well, to be honest with you guys, let me just say it from the beginning. The one that really kicked off the starting of this website was the accountometer. That's the one
Mhm.
that deals with the tracking of the things that go wrong in government. So
Yes.
the first thing you see is that red bar there that says JAMP at work. We immediately give you a way of seeing what is JAMP doing. And that one just focuses on the things that go wrong in government that we keep tracking beyond the 9 day. Everybody know what 9 day wonder is. So I can't
Yes.
see it because it's a little small on my side still. But what does it
Okay.
say in the red? JAMP at work and then?
Jump at work and 100 breach. Let me go for it for the bigger page. 105 breaches tracked, then
Good.
77 responses received,
Okay.
63 actions taken.
Right. So
That
that's just putting a quick evaluation bar there,
yes.
telling folks what we're tracking, how we're getting
Yes.
responses, and what is left. But below it are the 6 tools that we now have with the intention of building out 2 more. So,
Right.
as I said, in terms of the time and the interest, gentle folks, you're going to have to come, please, and check them all out. But I
Yes.
think Silburn and I should just really focus on 2 to give you an idea. So, the MP tracker in the middle, Silburn, is the one that most citizens will discover. And the
Yes.
reason they discover it, Silburn, you know why? In
Yes.
2023, Jamaica, and catch this, folks. In
Yes.
2023, Jamaica, if you're looking for your MP and you don't know how to find him, it's very hard to hold somebody to account, if you can't find him.
Mm.
It's very hard for you to get him to perform if you can't find him to ask him.
Yes.
So there is
Yes.
nowhere in Jamaica today where citizens can just put in them MP name and get the contact information. So that's actually a service that this tracker provides. If you scroll down, we talk about a little bit about the parliament with some facts, mostly for students. We explain
Yes.
what the MP tracker is. But if you
Yes.
come down some more, just to give them a little bit, what you begin to see to the left are the filter options for how you can
Yes.
find information. So you have parliamentarians, you can type in a name, you can go
Name.
in by
Yes.
party, you can go in by the position you're looking for, or a ministry. What if it's a minister you're trying to find and you don't know who he
Yes.
is? So let's try, for instance, I'll tell you why I think of Robert Miller. Let's put in Robert Miller for the Jamaica Labour Party.
Okay,
He
Robert.
has an outstanding record for attendance. He's a new member of parliament. And
Yes.
those are all the Roberts that come up. So let's click on
Okay.
Miller. Yes.
Okay. So go on to Robert Miller. Okay.
Yes, let's
Fantastic.
try Mr. Miller.
St. Catherine South. South.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So, okay.
Yeah.
And what you have right under his name are bits of information that we thought would be important for citizens to know about a parliamentarian. What's the history in the House? Which
Mhm.
committees they sit on, meaning how are they representing? A little bit about any civic activities, volunteerism, how they contribute outside of the House, and their
Yes.
profession. But right under the photo is where the magic happens. Those are the contact data from social media,
It's
email,
Facebook,
and where
Twitter.
the
Yeah.
office simply is. I mean, Silburn, think about it. We don't know. And for those who don't know, the taxpayers send $250,000 to 63 constituencies every month.
Yes.
Jamaicans don't know where they are, Silburn. So you see the accountability issue already. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
so a citizen goes in the phone and they put in Robert Miller, JAMP's website will come up and they go, oh, I didn't know this exists. And you
Mm.
begin to see the accountability metrics we're talking about. Now, let's bear in mind as we look at this, the fact that we're discussing how do we measure performance. First thing you're seeing right there is attendance. Yes?
Yes.
So the first rung is the attendance in what we call the general sittings of the House as an MP.
This is the one which I'm circling. House of
House of
Representatives.
Representatives.
Attendance
Every
there. One.
Tuesday at 10 o'clock, the
Yeah.
diaspora can turn in by PBCJ. Now you get black circles because he was not an MP. JAMP
Right.
always looks 5 years back so you
Right.
can get a good sense of the trends.
Okay. Okay.
So the 2 years that he has been an MP that we have data for, as you can see, it's an outstanding record on the part of
So he's a
member
good guy. He deserves the money then.
for attendance. If we're grading only on attendance, absolutely. He also
Okay.
sits on the PAC, which is the most important committee looking on the things that go wrong in government that
Yes.
Parliament needs to fix. So let's quickly take a look at the middle tab. Another thing is that parliamentarians are responsible for the development of the constituency. So the CDF in the middle there.
CDF. Click on that. Yes.
Each constituency is allocated $20 million. Now, Mr. Miller has to sit with his constituents and talk to them about how we're gonna use the money.
Yes.
So for the last two at the end, you can see he missed one meeting the first year, but he was present for the second year.
So question, if he missed the 2020, 2021, he
Right.
did not get any money.
Well, I'm happy you asked. The policy,
Yeah.
which you see that little red link at the top that says CDF operational, we provide the policy, right? The policy says if you do not meet with your constituents once every 2 years
Yes.
to discuss the yearly money that's allocated, you will not get the parliament approving your projects. But it happens all the time. So I just want to quickly say that
Yeah.
MP Juliet Holness is the chair of the committee that deals with the Silburn. And I'm
Yes.
very proud of her. I had to cut it out and put it on Twitter and big her up because last October she took a decision. Anybody missing those meetings, Silburn, guess what?
No money.
No projects for you. So I believe that's going to improve, but that is the rule. So the last on this page is you'll see that there's a report at the bottom saying Constituency Development Fund reports.
Yes.
Right. So if citizens want to see, I want to hold my MP to account, but I don't see him. Let me click and see what him say he has done this year in the constituency. God forbid an MP boasting on something he didn't do. A citizen should be able to say, but MP, we are talking about? Mr. The report, but we don't know about this, you know, that kind of thing.
Yes. And where do you get that information that is posted there? You get it from is it who send it to you to send it to JAMP?
What's interesting, and this is all again in the vein of accountability and performance, because the citizens listening would think that there's an office that I should be able to just contact and say, can I get Robert Miller MP's recent report? There is a constituency development unit at the office of the Prime Minister. Silburn, when I called them, said, no, we don't keep those things. We don't have them. I was like, what? So they said, I have to contact each MP to get that. The beautiful thing about MP Miller, in terms of an example, is I'm sitting in my office 2 weeks ago and an email pops in, Miss Calder, here is my CDF report. No, isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
So there are some MPs like MP Miller who will do that, and there are others you have to hunt them down to get it.
That's very compliant. Very compliant. Yeah. So therefore, if a news reporter or somebody want to get some sensational thing, bloggish or whatever like that, they can go on this, check all the MPs and say of all the 63 MPs, only 10 was compliant. They can do that, isn't it? If they want to make a story.
Idea. And I'll give you a practical example that I have found very painful. Attendance is basic, Silburn. If you're not showing up at the office, you can't perform. But if you check out the attendance data, and this is just to demonstrate why it's useful, there's a reason why government collect the data, you know, it's just the question is, what are they doing with it?
With the data,
now, we have a MP in the House that left the cabinet in 2018. And since he left the cabinet, he has been to the parliament 36% of the time the first year after, 37% of the time the following year, and then 39%. Now, Is there anybody online today who would have a job still burn if they are only going to the office 36, 37% of the time?
Not even post COVID, where we have
All
to
right.
be
Okay.
working from home. Yes,
That's
yes,
right. And so it's the question that JAMP is asking the government is not only is he still being paid, but he's getting a whopping increase in his salary. So
yes,
whereas we are not fighting about the increase, that's not where our focus is. Our question, Silburn, is if the government has this information, because that's how JAMP gets it, how is it this isn't taken into consideration when we're talking about a promotion? Those are
yes.
some of the details. Yeah.
That's interesting there.
Yeah, man.
Okay, and so we you are we okay here or go to asset declaration? Is that
We could go to,
okay?
we wouldn't do it for him because there's
Okay,
no data, and I'll explain why. But I want to
okay,
say to the diaspora members, you guys
yes.
are always sending things home to the community. I know how
Mm,
concerned you are about not just the community, but the constituency. And sometimes you're wondering how you can help. If you open up Member Miller's CDF report, Sil, and you see the things that he's trying to do, but the money can go so far and no further, it's a good
yeah.
way to come to JAMP's website and see what is my MP doing that I could help
Okay,
out a little bit with. So that's
because he's
another way in which you could use it.
yeah,
Yeah.
because he's writing a lot of information here, human resource and blah blah blah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that's Robert Miller, which is an
So that's
example
Robert
there.
Miller. Let's
Yeah.
let's see what's happening on the other side of the house. Let's try. Remember, Julian Robinson is always a good example as well as
Okay.
Mr. Miller.
Let
Let's
me
try
let me let
Julian.
me, let me see if I. You don't have to tell me. I help myself here now, and as I'm learning,
Student. Hey, student.
yeah, I'm a student. I go to MP Tracker,
Yes,
and
sir.
then I move away. I will say to people that I'm teaching, I say you can find out about your members of parliament, your
Correct.
filter options, your
Yes.
political party. In the UK, what we go by, even though with names as well, we go by postcode, as you know, because so
Okay. I
so once you
see.
type in your postcode, you'll find out
I
who is the
see.
MP, just like a
Yeah.
councillor.
Oh, that's
So
so
I go,
nice and easy. We could
yeah,
probably try that. But still, let me show you an easier way. Can I ask you to scroll back to the top?
go back
Way
to
on
the top.
the top, very top of the website. And at the top right, you see contact and then the little search, the search. If you click that, just put,
Yeah.
it's an easier thing to do. Just put in your MP's name. You don't have to go to the tracker itself. Just put in
Okay.
Julian is fine. Julian alone will do.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
man. And then hit enter, and it should take us straight to him. So it's a quick and there
Okay.
he
They
is.
found 12,
Tio.
12 results for, so we can click on to maybe this one.
The
Yeah.
top
Click on it.
one,
Yeah.
correct. That would be best.
Okay. Fantastic.
Now, member Robinson is a good MP to use because his website, he just loads up all the information. So I don't even need to ask for it. You know, those are some of the powerful examples that I think other MPs can follow. So the
Yeah.
same thing obtains here. If you look at the CDF for him, he has been an MP longer, so there's more data for him. But as
More
you can
data
see,
for.
every single year for member Robinson, we can provide the citizens with those reports. So
But
that's
there are
really
two. There are two here. Is it that is not updated yet? Because I'm sure it would be compliant in meetings in
absolutely
2020.
well. I'm giving you what I get from the parliament. So Mr.
I
Robinson,
see.
you're going to have to tell me the parliament is wrong.
Right. Right. Okay. So what you have here is a
Yeah,
reflection of what you have. Doesn't mean to say
correct.
that it's an ultimate fact. If anything.
Right, because I have had parliamentarians reach out and say, Miss Calder, that isn't right. I was at those meetings, and I say I can only change it if the
Mm,
parliament changes it. So I provide them with the reports the parliament gives to me, Silburn. When the parliament says, yes, Miss Calder, we were wrong, we update the site to reflect the reality. But we can't change it because our parliamentarian said, Jeanette, me not think that is right. You with me?
yes.
Yeah.
And I can see that his attendance as you mentioned about the 5 years. He's been an MP now for 5 years.
Right,
So
and
it's become two.
to be clear, for the Public Accounts Committee, which he sits on, as it says below, though you see the
Yeah.
black circles, he was not a member. So it's
Yes.
not that he wasn't there; he was not a member. So that shows up as well.
Okay, fantastic. Can we stop sharing? Or you want to go further on this? Just show people the site, if
Well,
anything.
just one last tracker because I know the diaspora is interested in the headlines that make their
Yes.
blood boil. So we could
Yes.
take a look at the accountometer, and the whole
Okay.
idea behind this one was The headline tells us about some other significant loss to the public purse. We all get upset about it. We talk about the 9-day wonder. So let me show you what we are doing to work against it.
It's
I'm going to
interesting.
share it.
We're going to go back to the 9-day wonder because that's a very interesting one.
Well, I can
Okay.
hold here. I can hold it here then.
Okay. View all breach. What do you want? I see the keyword there. Yes.
Oh,
And I
you'd like
see.
me to go ahead with the sample?
Yeah. Let's go to
Okay.
sample.
All right. So without going too much into it, it was a
Yeah.
situation at NHT in 2014 that got my blood boiling, that led to the idea of JAMP. So I'm going to go back and show you what has happened. If you plug in NHT, you could plug it in as an agency. You could look for it on the
Sir, I just click
government
search.
ministries, but you can just in the search, as you did a while ago, put in
Yeah.
NHT. So we have 4 issues that came out. Is it 4
Yes.
or 5?
That's it.
Now, the
5.
one
Yeah.
at the top is the one I'm going to use as an example. Some of us in the diaspora and at home will remember the famous Outer Many experience, where the NHT, that's really responsible for building houses, bought a tourism entertainment facility for 180 million. So, folks, this is how we track it. The Auditor General provided a report. The findings are right there. If you scroll down a little bit still, it will give you the details, the general details, whether or not the NHT fixed the problem, when did they fix it, when it was reported. Now, under recommendations, it's important to share with Jamaicans what did the investigative body say needed to be done. We make it simple, 1, 2, 3, book. And then JAMP with the access to information legislation that the government of Jamaica has given to the citizens. We get in touch with NHT and I said, what? Can you provide me with documentation to clarify what steps you have taken to fix what is in this report? And I want everybody in the diaspora to know that this is not something JAMP does. I was doing this before JAMP. You can do it too. So anything Silburn you see in the paper that go wrong, give them some time to fix it. Not start the next day, but make a little note now, guys. And 3 months you come to JAMP's website and you can ask government and I'll show you how. So here's the update that we have. And if you scroll a little bit below, we will show you the documentation that we got from the NHT. So you don't have to believe JAMP. If you click on it, you would see. Now, Silburn and I don't have the time, guys, to go through all of it. You will have to come and explore. But there's one tab I have to show you before we go. And that is the accountability officers.
So click onto this one here. Yeah.
Right. Now, this is what's a little bit different from the newspaper. The newspaper going to tell you what went wrong. Your blood going to boil. But you don't know who to hold to account or how. And this is where JAMP provides the 4 chief policymakers, decision makers, power brokers in that entity, their contact information via social media, email, phone. It is now you as the employer of these 4 Jamaicans that need to know the what still. Click a button. In the case of Outer Many, the Office of the Prime Minister was responsible to fix it. They did.
Yeah.
So you can click Silburn, you know, have a cuss, click them and say, good job, Prime Minister.
Right.
Yeah, man, they're humans too, So encouragement is part of what this wants to do. Commendation, not condemnation.
So what you're saying? So under Andrew Holness name, click onto one of those Facebook or whatever like that, and
it will take you right there.
Yeah,
so
and
you
say
can
to him,
tell him, look, PM, I was on JAMP website and I see that you fixed the Outer Many problem, man. Good job. That's important. And if it wasn't fixed, Silburn, then you do the same thing. If you want to send an email because you don't want to put it out in the public domain, you click it, your email will open with his email address. You share how you feel. But you can do that with the permanent secretary, as well as the board chair, as well as the managing director. And
it's very important what you say, because it's easy for sometimes people to be very critical at times and just really blast ministers of government when actually sometimes they are doing fantastic job as well. And as you rightly say, it would be good for somebody to just say, guys, big up the Prime Minister and just say, Madam, sorry.
I love that, Silburn. I love that. And
say right now.
Sil, that because they're so used to thinking everything is going wrong, JAMP really wants to communicate through this website how many of those breaches have been fixed, to show people that if we lean in, things can go right. So that's another part and another way of encouraging people. Yeah,
And can we say safely then there's a good or excellent working relationship with the with JAMP and the government and the bodies like JIS in giving the information there?
I cannot think. There are some ministries that are definitely more difficult than some. I have no difficulty even telling you who they are
Mm,
because that's my job. So we do
yes.
struggle with the Ministry of National Security in getting information, but please bear in mind there is
I'm glad,
something
I'm
the
glad,
Ministry of.
I'm glad you said Ministry of National Security because I've
Okay,
got some people and they will be so happy for me to bring this up.
yeah,
In
but it's security still. So some things you can't get,
no, the
right?
bit about Pika
Pika.
who sort out the passport
Oh,
immigration
Pika.
service.
Yes,
Oh
yes,
yeah, Jamaicans over here.
yeah,
Some are very upset because they came and
yeah.
they were supposed to sort out some passport and some people are waiting for it. So it would be so good to see
Mm-hmm.
that as something in JAMP whereby it
Tell
has
me.
been rectified, it has been, and there's been these recommendations, and it has been fixed. Okay, let me bring this up then.
Yes.
If Jamaicans in the UK are upset or annoyed that their passports are not with them, not all of them, don't get me wrong, not all of them, because I got back mine, even though it wasn't
Yes.
within the prescribed time.
Uh-huh.
Pika came and Pika encouraged Jamaicans in the UK to come and pay a premium and you get your passport back once you get everything sorted at that day and it was ratified in 25 days time. And now we're in May and people from October are still actually waiting for their passport and some are fuming mad and they're not getting a response. How would
Yeah.
JAMP deal with that, if anything?
Well,
Can they
all
write
right.
to
So
JAMP?
the reason I like that question is that
Yes,
it will allow me to share a little bit with what our process is, and it's important
yes.
that we are transparent with how we put the
I'm
information
giving,
out
giving
there.
a thumbs up because somebody on Instagram is excited that I'm asking that question.
Oh, that's I hope I
Yeah,
won't disappoint them with the answer.
yeah,
But the process, Silburn, I think as folks can understand, there are a number of things that we can have on this website that
mm,
a government or a party can feel is problematic for them. So the
yes,
way we comport ourselves is really important that we do it transparently and fairly and objectively. So the
yes,
question of what do we put on the website, for instance, a Pika matter like this would never show up on this website, save and except for one thing.
yes,
We only put things that a state agency has identified, done their investigative findings, have done their work, and come to the parliament and say, we are tabling our findings.
yes.
Once that is completed, that is now a signal for JAMP to get involved. Why? Because I don't, and JAMP, the board, none of us operate on the basis of speculation. So the
Right.
only time it gets on our site on that account-o-meter is because a state agency has done an investigation in PICA. Yes. And
Yes.
let me share this with the person on Instagram. If
Mm,
you are dissatisfied with PICA, the Auditor General's department is there. What is the AG's department looking for? Not scandals, guys. It's
mm.
to ensure that the entities in government are performing at the best level. So if they're not performing, the AG can actually go in and do an audit, on the back of what citizens say is not working for them. You understand what I'm saying, Sil?
And even though these citizens are or these persons are in the UK, applying for the Jamaican passports, is it the same level as Jamaica?
100% yes. Why? Because PICA is rendering a service, and that's all the AG needs to know. So she's going to go in to look at the operational inefficiencies. I want to say this again. The
Yes,
Auditor General is not there to discover which politician and public official are thief money. That's not her mandate. She goes
yes,
in to look at how is it running and operating to give ideas. And if she finds that there's a concern for money, she'll raise it. So I'm sharing with the diaspora. If there's a government office that you're struggling with, the Auditor General's department is a good place to share your challenges with. And I promise you, like she did with Outameni, when she saw everybody getting upset about it, she sends the resources in to find out what was wrong still and gave
yes.
us a report. So I hope that helps.
Well, that's very interesting because it helps with the question which I was going to ask. How do you decide which case to take up? And right there, you just sort of set out the
Some of it.
preamble
Right.
as to how that is done. So I can say for persons who are listening regarding the passport issue which I've been talking about, we'll find the number and the contact details for the Auditor General to reach out to. So CC and those guys, I brought that up as well.
Yeah.
The bit about, before going to the salary bit, the bit about how do you decide which case to take up, was that answered there in that bit there? Because I brought it in, or you want
Yes,
to
yes,
question?
but we only for the account meter. Well, everything on the site is a function of what government gives us in response to the
Yes.
use of the ATI, which every citizen, by the way, Silburn, do you know that non-citizens, the government of Jamaica is really a gift to the citizens? 22 years this legislation exists. Barbados don't even have it in a seal. And every time I'm in a workshop and I say to Jamaicans, you've seen things and you have questions, you ever use it? Them said, no, Miss Calder, we never even know that it exists. So
Information.
yeah, it's knowledge building. So it's not only for the Jamaicans at home, but anybody in the diaspora can use it. But guess what? Anybody on the planet can use it. So the government of Jamaica, sometimes we say they're not transparent, but that's a major transparency. So
Yes.
a foreigner abroad can ask the government of Jamaica for documents using that same legislation. So we use it once we see a concern to say to a permanent secretary, who is the accounting officer, P.S., what steps have you taken? Remember now, folks, we are the employers, And let me say this sentence here, Silburn. An election is a job recruitment process. Do you agree with me or
Yes.
you disagree with me? When your MP knock on your gate, is a work in a still.
Yeah, it's worth
So
them a look. Yeah, isn't it?
yeah, him said, give me the work, guys. Give me the job. I'm going to go in the field. So
Yes.
when we give them the job, it's just that the mechanism to select the candidate is different, but it is a job. So you are the employer, and everybody's telling citizens they must do them work and hold government accountable. The access to information legislation is what the government of Jamaica has given to citizens at home and abroad to hold them accountable. So I'm really glad we're underscoring this point. Now, quickly back to the AG. JAMP
Yes.
started out with the Auditor General because of the importance. She's the government's auditor. She audits everything, even foreign embassy. Yes? Farm work program. She come over there, yes, and they'll deal with it. So we thought, let us start with who is the key person overseeing government. But we don't intend to stop there still. The Integrity Commission is now firing on all cylinders. So JAMP is going to be expanding their borders now to follow up with reports from the Integrity Commission. And we will keep on expanding and building out that database until now we're covering all the anti-corruption bodies that oversee government.
Is that
How do
Mr.
we
Greg? Is that Greg Christie is the Auditor General? People.
No, Mrs. Pamela Monroe Ellis has been the Auditor General of Jamaica since
Okay.
2008, and Mr. Greg Christie is one of 5 directors. Let me say that he's not the director. He's one of 5 directors on the same level, and 5 commissioners are on top to form the base of the Integrity Commission. So 5 commissioners and 5 directors, of which Mr. Christie is one. Yeah.
And this is the lady, yeah?
Let me see if you got it right. There you go. Yes.
Pamela. So Pamela Monroe Ellis, Auditor
Yeah.
General of Jamaica. She's a key person who
Correct.
actually we should have a conversation with her as much as
That's a
possible.
great idea.
Yes, what is so good about even this whole thing? It actually opens up your eyes and opens up your reservoir to it opens up to the reservoir. What should I say?
Yeah.
The reservoir of information which is out there that somehow we are not tapping into, which is there.
That's
But
the idea.
certain things bust the dam, where we are access to these information.
That's true.
What would you say then? Because as I said, we came on here today to talk about the salary bit and how does JAMP get involved with this? I mean, because I've seen you on the street, am I correct on some of demonstration or so?
Well, I was out there for the Outer one that started JAMP under the PNP, and I was out there on Friday for this one under the JLP. I'm out there across administration, Silburn.
Is that JAMP or is that yourself? Is it?
No, it's JAMP. Well, in 2014, JAMP didn't exist, but that was the experience of standing out there protesting Outer that inspired a JAMP. And now JAMP does exist. let me just be clear. JAMP did not instigate that demonstration, but we
Yes.
felt it was important, listening to the country, that we go out there and stand. Silburn, I'm going to say what I said out there. I
Yeah.
don't have my prime minister, on speed dial. So in a democracy, one option of having a conversation is to respectfully go out there on the street, put your thoughts on a piece of paper. It makes a difference. And so I want people to understand that protesting in Jamaica is not only about, the way we see it, very combative. It's a
Yes.
respectful standing in the street to say, I want to number myself among those who are concerned, and I want to have a conversation with my prime minister. So those are some of the thoughts. Very
Yeah.
peaceful. We talked with the police. The police tell us what they think about it as well, but they were there to make sure that
Yeah.
everything went well. So it was a good day.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go back. And before we go back into the salary bit, but how does an organization like yourself keep
Mhm.
above the political fray in what should I say, an
Oh,
overcharged political climate? You know, and
it
and
can be.
and
Yeah.
and I said this last night, and I mentioned it in my little promo for yourself, because when I did when the flyer was done by someone who is oblivious about colors in Jamaica, just did a
Oh,
nice flyer, and
yes.
then I saw the flyer and I said, the flyer have some colors on it. You know what I mean? Let me
Yeah,
just run
man.
it by
Yeah.
um
Okay.
Jeanette. What you thought about today? Says Silver, and I think you're right. Yeah, you're right. How do you? We revamped it. How do you keep
Um,
above political? How do you keep above political fray and jam, for argument's sake?
I don't know that I can keep above it. I just keep
Yeah,
walking through it. When they
true.
say
Yeah.
when you're going through trouble, just know that you're going through it.
Yes.
I'm never gonna get away from that. I don't think
Mm,
so. Personally, I am unbiased. I am
mm,
an independent, and so that just simply makes it easier because it's really coming from a place of not having to pretend. It's really what I am.
yes.
When the government of Jamaica does right, I am out there. That's a very important thing. You don't
Yeah.
want to be the kind of advocate where you're only seeing the negative, because that don't
Negative.
exist. So
Yes.
when the government, if I'm discussing this matter on the, let's say, the salaries, there are reasons
Mm,
why they should get a salary increase. Don't be afraid to tell
mm,
the people why. Be fair, man. Be
yes.
balanced. Tell the truth, right? Bob said, tell the people the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just try as best as you can. You're gonna make mistakes.
Did you audition for the I3s? I just
Of
asking.
course not. I tell you something, my own father kicked me off the choir. So still, but the way I try our best, and we're gonna make mistakes, yeah.
Mm,
But it is, as I said, to make sure that the data on our side, we do our best with quality control. As a matter of fact, in 2020 during the elections, we erred with some of those pages. And how
yes.
did we deal with it? Come out and say mea culpa. Yes, explain what went wrong and keep on going. Yes, there are people who are going to say, see the man, but tell us him is called a closet comrade. But can I tell you something, Silburn?
Mm,
In 2014, when I was standing up as a point of principle about outer many under the
yes.
PNP, I
Yes.
remember going on air that night on CVM, and the first thing they said to me is that, Jeanette, people saying you're a labor right. I was like, okay. Now that the Jamaica Labour Party, sorry, I'd prefer to use that term, is in power, everybody see me as what now, Silburn? You want to
Yeah.
guess? A comrade.
I come right.
So
Yeah.
it is a part of the job, and so I don't let it bother me. I'm going to be a labor right if the PNP is in, and
Mm,
I'm going to be a comrade if the labor rights are in. My position is we're providing data that's generated by the government, and we do very little on the website to give you our opinion. This is for you, Silburn. Look
yes.
at it, come to your positions. As I said to you
Mm.
before, anything we're tracking would have come out of a government generated report.
And you can back
So
it up again. That's why you put that link as
absolutely, and we
well.
put the reports there, so you don't even have to look for it. JAMP is saying this is where we got the information. So those are the things that we do to try our very best to communicate to Jamaica that we mean business and we're really serious about this. I didn't come to waste time. I
Yeah.
believe this is gonna make a difference. But
Yes.
those are some of the things that we do.
Now,
And
yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
we watch the colors,
You
right?
watch your colors. Watch
We
your colors.
watch the colors.
You have people out there, and some of them are very frustrated. Some of them don't know what to do. I had a friend, a lawyer, and said, "See, the people are not here. Where are all the people?" Um,
Oh.
and then just said it's going to be a 9-day wonder. And I said to her, "Come on, you're not there. That is why the people are not there. The
Yeah.
only way it can be a 9-day wonder is if you let it be a 9-day wonder. How can people in Jamaica, how can people in the diaspora in this particular situation who are feeling helpless can
Mhm.
get some tools or can be what should I say, activated in some action? What are some of the action things they can do?"
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just going to share what I did for the outer many matter. I know
Yeah.
outer many was impacting us here at home, and I know the diaspora felt a way about it. Sorry. So whereas there were some Jamaicans that really, came out for the 3 days that we were there, and by the way, that's the point. We came out for 3 days, and by the end of the third day, the Prime Minister of Jamaica changed her position, Silburn, on the
Mm.
matter.
The
So
Prime
if
Minister
I
of
had
Jamaica changed his position.
in terms of the issue
Yeah.
at the time. Now, if
Yeah.
I had listened to the friends who told me, Jeanette, you're wasting your time, is a 9-day wonder, then we unless we test it, we really don't know what is possible.
Mm.
So I'm saying this again about this scenario. I am gonna be honest with you, and I know folks gonna disagree with me, but there have been several times since Mr. Holness has been the Prime Minister of Jamaica where he has taken a decision and there is pushback, and I've seen the Prime Minister respond. Several. And if you want the examples, I'll give them to you. So I live in a jurisdiction where policymakers are gonna decide things that we don't like, guys.
Yeah.
That's not anything unusual. But I'm saying that I live in a jurisdiction where when the people lean in, not lean away and say, boy, I don't see anybody out there. I'm not a public servant. We're the public servants. When Jamaicans lean in, I have observed that
Yeah.
more often than we realize, Silburn, we get our way. So if that is the case, then who is change waiting on? Is it me or the policymaker?
Right. And I think one of the examples you're going to say, and I will say it as well for you because I follow Jamaican politics, is the seatbelt. They
Oh,
moved.
there's that. And I didn't even remember that one, Silburn. Thank
Exactly.
you. Let me write that down.
Yes. Yes. Write it down.
That's another one.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah. You
And the
listen.
one, the one right before that, the diaspora, I think even helped us with it. Everybody looking forward to Jamaica festival song competition,
Yeah.
man. And government said no. And people said, what? Twitter, diaspora,
Yeah.
everybody, and what the government did. We had our festival song competition.
You know what I said to even the persons in the passport issue? I
Exactly.
said to them, amidst what they say about Andrew Holness, he's in tune and he will listen. And I say to the passport persons who are having a problem, write to Andrew. Because Andrew gonna say, boy, me no know.
It's a very good idea.
Instead of on writing to the paper,
Yeah.
and of course, me no know, man. Tell me, man. Tell me.
Yeah,
Write to the
that's
Prime
a good
Minister.
idea. And if you don't know where to find him, still you know the answer. How do you know how to find the Prime Minister?
Go on to the JAMP website.
Exactly.
I'm your
I don't know
mouthpiece.
I don't know how your sisters them call you an idiot. Give me the phone number.
Listen, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna send this to them, and they're gonna say, "Idiot, why?" When curious, Claudine and Jess.
That's how you do it. Because they are, I love the point, Sil, because my God, man. I remember, no joking, I remember when Mr.
Yeah.
Holness just came in. I was kind of worried about this, There were like 50, I don't think I'm exaggerating. I counted them were like 50 public companies that Mr. Holness was responsible for, and a super ministry, and
Yes.
the office of the Prime Minister. So
Mm.
that is a governance problem in and of itself. But the point I'm making is there's a lot on his plate, So there's
Mm.
some things going wrong. And you're right, Silburn. Mr. Holness can't know everything. But what if you wrote? You might find that you get a response. Yeah. Good
Right.
idea.
So therefore, in final, to as you rightly say a while ago, and if I can paraphrase it, lean in onto the issues and don't pull back because the
Until,
government until the government actually budge. But if you just stand back and say, "Well, I mean, can't
yeah,
do
man.
nothing about it,"
Yeah, man.
then they
You
won't
know,
know, isn't it?
can I tell you the one that touched my heart the most?
Yes.
In 2018, and I think everybody in Jamaica knows that MP Andrew Wheatley is a good friend of the Prime Minister, not just a colleague. And
Yes.
there were some issues generated on the Petrojam matter that
Yes.
the
I
Prime
remember.
Minister eventually had to accept his resignation. And a member of the media, after a post cabinet press briefing, asked the question, is he going to return, Mr. Wheatley? This might have been a few months later. And I never forgot what Mr. Holness said. He indicated that that is what he would want to do, but he said, but the Jamaican people are not so minded. Now listen to me, Silburn. There are so many jurisdictions where you would not have the leader of government wanting what he wants. Yeah, it's I'm a colleague, I'm a brethren, right? And I would put him back and be prepared to not go in the direction he would like to go, because he's acknowledging that the Jamaican people were not so minded. I never take that lightly, in a Silburn. You understand what I'm saying? This is his will, but this is the public's will. And so we had a leader who was listening enough to know, not my will, but fine, if you don't mind the quote, saying, I am prepared to go where the people want to go. And I never forgot that, and I found it rather encouraging. You know what I mean?
As Good News Jamaica TV says, standing up is our duty. Nothing should stop your advocacy. Intimidation only works if you allow it. So therefore, what I'm picking up for ladies and gentlemen, if you are feeling a bit frustrated, is to push in, let the government know. And if you don't know where they are, go to JAMP and you can actually write to all your MPs. Am I correct?
Yes, you
Let
are
them all
correct.
know.
And I know there are some citizens, Silburn, who are saying, boy, you know, Jeanette, you're talking about this access to information. I wouldn't mind trying it. You know, as I read the papers over there and I want to kind of follow through, how do we do it? Time doesn't allow, guys, but the sixth tool on our website is an ATI tool, which simply means, still, you don't need to know all the emails of all the ATI officers in government. Whichever entity you want, you just go to that tracker, click the entity, put in your request, hit send, and what happens is one email comes to you and one goes to that ATI officer. You both know each other. You can continue the conversation. Submit your ATI from JAMP's website. Yep, sounds
And
good.
and ladies and gentlemen, you have been seeing the emails and the details for JAMP, which is there, and you can find out, contact JAMP, Twitter, Facebook, and everything. But before you go, I just want to go through a couple of things here, because I was looking at this recommendation. You might cover your screen, and this is what we're talking about: accountability. This is even taking it away from just the salary issue, because I'm not looking at the salary issue as the
Very
main thing.
good.
I'm looking at the
Very good.
governance of Jamaica, which you are talking about. There was a 1990 Stone report, which 1 to 7. I don't know if you can elaborate on it, but it says some very key points there.
Sure. I mean,
Yeah,
this is how I was really happy to bring this to the attention of the media last week,
yeah,
right after the matter was announced in the House, because this is not just about a report, as relevant as it would be. It's about two things: the Prime Minister Michael Manley asked Carl Stone and some other
yeah,
Jamaicans to bring to him some recommendations on two things: how to improve the performance of MPs, still,
yeah,
and
yeah,
how to improve accountability for MPs. A
yeah,
very relevant report for today. So this is 30 odd years ago. But what's interesting is what was the catalyst for this report? It was that Michael Manley was raising the salaries of MPs back in 1989. And
yeah,
Jamaicans said, no, sir. And so Manley said, okay, what can we do to make sure that we will get value for money if we raise it? Can you imagine still? The same setup, you know? And
same
so
setup.
it's really same setup, man. And so the amazing thing about it is that these are really 16 recommendations made so we can get value for money. And you see the first one it starts with?
Yeah,
That's right where JAMP is. We cannot assess an employee. We can't even pay them well. Maybe they deserve
yeah,
3 times what they're getting
yes,
unless
yes.
we have job descriptions. So
And it
that's
also, yeah, and
go
also
ahead.
number four, it says change the constitution from the British parliamentary system to a
We're
presidential system
we're
with
still
an
talking about that.
elected president.
Yep.
This was from recommendation from Stone,
30,
from
30 odd years ago. Yeah.
wow, and Malahoo Fort recently said the recommendation that they're putting forth is a ceremonial, but this
I'm
is
glad you
very
caught that.
interesting.
And that's precisely why Jeanette has put it in bold. And so I'm glad you caught that. 30
Wow,
years ago, that was a recommendation. The government is proposing something that doesn't necessarily affect where we have been. So here are
wow.
16 of them, and I don't know where you could post it still
Well,
for
well,
the.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I'm showing it up there, and I'll post them on my pages as well.
right. Wonderful.
Increase the role of MPs in capital budget decision,
Mhm.
providing more support staff for MPs,
Correct. Yeah.
ensure that MPs reside in or have a residence in the constituencies they represent.
Yep.
But the established constituency councils made up of civic established constituency offices separate and apart from party offices in
Yeah.
each constituency.
Hmm.
Refurbish current parliament pending the new building. That's from 1990. They're talking about that
Right.
new building still. You know?
Right. Correct.
You
And
know?
these, I think you were going to bring it up. The one in green.
Yes.
This was the same report, but it's now detailing some ideas on the
Any reason why it's in green?
job description. The colors of the country, silver and city hall.
Hey, no, listen, you're right, you're right. Because I think one time, I don't know what it was. I think they took out the green out of something, and then people have said, no, you can't do that at the color of the country.
What can I tell you? But this is a draft job description. It does need a lot of work
Yes,
still, because the focus here is 90% on the work of the MP in the constituency. And
yes,
to me, the work in the parliament is equally, if not more important. So it's something the citizens need to discuss. But we
yes,
have a draft still. We can start talking about it with our prime
yes,
minister. Yeah,
yes, yeah, because it's 16. Yeah, this is a job description.
correct.
Administration scarce benefits on a
Correct.
non-partisan. I was
Yeah.
I was asked last night in on my show. So if you come to Jamaica, you come to Oturus, and people are asking you for money, it's the poor people on the road, and so like, what would you do? And I said, I said I would help if I have it in my hands, but I would more be further looking to see how can Saint Anne set up some sort of welfare system, some
Sound
food
like my
banks,
son.
go to the I don't know. Instead of instead of what I hear as some of the reasons or justifications, I don't know if it is true. We need to get more money so we can um because we have to help people go funeral, help people at school and all them sort of stuff there. And I'm
Yeah.
saying in the UK, for an MP to do that, I mean they can do it, but they don't do that. They send them to the local authorities, the councils, the welfare system to help
Yeah.
them. So that constituency fund, shouldn't that be the fund that they put more money in to help those situations?
Well, it is the fund that they now put money in that allows
Yeah.
the MP to assist on the ground.
Mm.
What the members of parliament say, Sid and Silburn, and there's some truth to it, is that the system moves too slow. When you
Yes.
are on the ground and you have this old lady and
True.
there's rain coming in, the
Yes.
system does move too slow. But here's what I want to leave with you on that point. And though that is true, when the MP says he's going to allocate some money to fix that roof, where does the MP go? It's to the same state agencies in a Silburn in the first place. There are
Mm.
26 agencies that they're going to have to go to anyway. You get my point? To
Yes.
assist the old lady. So my thoughts is, so if it's the same agencies going to come and assist, the same state agencies, then why do we really need the MP involved? To try and get it going faster. So my point is there a way the MP can do that, or more the councillor, without the way it is done now, in a way that people say,
Yeah.
it kind of is a kind of, I don't want to say it, but Silburn, the concern is it's another way of embedding yourself in the constituency that leads to patronage. My MP help me have to go vote for him. But if
Yes.
there's a distance between the MP and the person receiving the help, it's the
Mm.
government helping, not the
Mm.
member of parliament now that I owe a vote. You with me, Silburn?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that's for discussion. But let me just say this.
Mm.
I don't think the CDF is going anywhere. You would have to get the MPs on both sides of the house in order for Parliament to change it. And there's no MP that's going to do that. So JAMP's position is, how do we provide the citizens with the information so that it can work better? I am
Yes.
not trying to change the CDF fund, because getting that vote is next to impossible. But can it run better, Silburn? Yes, it can. So we're going to focus on the accountability around making it run better.
So therefore, one needs the will and the determination as much as possible.
And I want to say that MPs do some really good job with that money
Yeah.
in October. Just look at the reports. It's not all bad, And the Auditor
Mm.
General has audited the CDF. There were no scandals. Can I tell you? So
Mm.
it's not either what we think it is. So let's just all lean in and see how we can improve it.
You
Yeah.
know, one of the things that they said within the Labour Party, or I shouldn't say Labour Party, because when it's talk about government, it's government we are talking about, is not communicating some of the achievements or some of the things that they have done very well to the
Okay.
people. And even the whole thing regarding the republic and the whole debate and the consultation which is going on, because I'm very much interested in that, because I would like Jamaica to have a particular type of president, and to move away from the present ceremonial system which is there. We got to really cut away as soon as possible, but doing it very effective and properly. And it's so important that education goes fully through the country, so people really, it's like taking the people with you. And I use an example yesterday. I won't play it tonight, but I use an example of a man, and it was a man named Michael Manley. But I said it is the words that any man shall have integrity and blah blah blah. And I was imitating him as for the first time at last, you know. And but the point about it was the message and not the messenger. And that's the reason why I always keep talking about we've got to even move away eventually very soon. And we must from the colors that tribalize and separate our people. I always say this is me going off now. When MPs or persons who are aspirant for a constituency, don't go in that constituency in a green or a orange, because you automatically cut off some people from you. Go there natural and say, hey, I'm John Brown and I want to reach to everybody. But once you put on the colors, it conjures up something with a level of intimidation from the other side.
Can I agree with you? I think your listeners would have heard me share that the constituents receive $2.25 million every month
Yes,
for the taxpayer to upkeep a constituency office. It's a public building, Silver.
yes,
So how do you feel when you come back home and you drive into your community and the public building is in
yes,
green and white stripe or
yes,
orange and white stripe? Why we would never accept it if the Ministry of Finance was painted in green? But
yes.
you go at the constituency level and you're right, Silburn, but it's painted in the color. That's a powerful example of where we also need to neutralize the space,
Mm,
because there are Jamaicans who have said when they step in, they feel intimidated because they know everybody know that's not who them support. So that's a good
yes,
point. Let's
yes.
neutralize the colors, particularly at constituency offices. Yeah.
Well, before we go, I think Advocacy Network had ask you to there's some new things that they're talking about, some
Yes.
you know,
Yes. Yes.
the leaning in, the
I
leaning
just want
in
to
thing.
say on their behalf that there are a
Yeah.
number of Jamaicans who want to channel how they are feeling about the government's decision, and they are looking for a way to do it. And you
Mhm.
really do need other citizens to create that vehicle for you. So
Yes.
the Advocates Network has stepped up to the plate, and they have decided that in a very appropriate spot, which is in front of the Ministry of Finance building downtown. Thanks, Silburn. They
Yeah.
will be gathering, and they have chosen an hour that they believe will be good. If you come too early in the morning, guys, people rushing to
Mm,
work. If you come too later evening, people tired and have to get home for the kids. So during
mm.
lunchtime, between the hours of 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock, just
Yes.
come out and stand with the Advocates Network. Rather, come out and stand with Jamaicans for
Yes.
something the Advocates Network is organizing. If you can only manage a half an hour, Silburn, tell
Yes.
your folks half an hour. We'll be starting on Wednesday, and all
Mhm.
the Advocates Network and JAMP is saying we are going to do this with respect for our leaders. So you
Yes.
can bring your own placard, but we will have cartridge papers. But this is just to continue the conversation. Starting on Wednesday, downtown, Ministry of Finance building for 2 hours. We will take you for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, half an
Yeah.
hour, 2 hours. But if you're not at home, we're not going to leave you out. Call a
Yeah.
friend, man. Call a relative and tell them to come and stand on your behalf. Last suggestion, Sil. If you're in the diaspora, stand up at home, wherever, write on your cartridge paper. Take a picture of how you feel, Sil.
Oh.
Upload it to the advocates. Ah, man, I've done this before.
Yes.
Same thing I did without a mini. Just take a photo of what's on your cartridge paper
Yeah.
and upload it to any of the advocate network. Exactamente. Upload it to any of the advocates network social media profile,
Mm,
and the government will see it. So in that way, Silburn, we're
mm.
actually also considering what are the thoughts of the diaspora. How that sounds, Sil?
That's so good. I think I would be surprised if people have decided that they're going to camp out, or just even a few of them go to the respective high commissions as well, just to share their views.
That
Um,
would be wonderful.
you
That
know,
would be
but
wonderful.
the most important thing, what I pick up from tonight though, is another angle, because there's a lot of talking, a lot of chatting, but somehow it is just going around in space and it's going around in circles. And Jeanette, I think what you have done, you have
Mhm.
captured up another way how it is done, like with Professor
Absolutely.
Hamilton when we had a discussion about advocacy network, how you
Yes.
can tap into there, or you can tap into JAMP, and this has been really helpful. Go ahead, Janet. You're going to say
Well,
something.
my closing statement would be just to
Yes.
really ask Jamaicans to be encouraged. Guys, the time don't allow for it, but you can through Silburn contact me. We can get a little bit more detailed into this.
Mm,
But our theory at JAMP is that we have all the ingredients in place for the change. Things can be better. We need constitutional reform. But I'm saying to you that the cup is more than half full. And we
mm,
kind of get into the dailiness of it, and we're not seeing the big picture of the other things Jamaica has that other
mm.
countries don't have. It's waiting on the citizen.
Yes.
However, the citizen needs tools to do their job. And JAMP is saying to citizens, I am past the point for 60 years silver and we're pointing at the MP. And
Yes.
there are three fingers here pointing back at me.
Yeah.
One finger, you employ them. Second finger, you're the financier. Third
Yeah.
finger, you're the shareholder. You have a part. JAMP is offering you these tools so that you can engage, voice out, and hold government to account. That's really what it's about, doing our part. So thanks a lot for the opportunity, Sil, to
Yeah.
talk to everybody.
Thank you so much, Ms. Calder, and I wish you all the best. And definitely, I'm on board with JAMP. I'm on board with Advocacy Network.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that I love to do, and I put it to Rosemary, Miss Rosalie Hamilton, just like in my profession, genogram. There should be some sort of genogram that sets out in a way how these different advocacy networks work, so they are not splintered off, but they can actually have a sort of umbrella thing to give them a sort of power force.
Interesting.
And show they link, you
Interesting.
know. Because I'm a children and family lawyer, so therefore, when a
Okay.
child is going to be taken away or whatever, we find all the family network to see who the alternative family members and blah blah blah,
Mm.
so we can
Mhm.
plan whether to adoption, long-term fostering,
I get
alternative.
in the picture. Yeah.
Yeah, but then what we can do with all these network now is to
Yes.
build a genogram, so everything is
Yeah.
so connected, because you're connected
Right.
with advocacy, just
Network.
like how I get to know you, connected with JAMP. And
Correct.
through Rosemary as well, I've
Yeah.
got connected in this massive thing. And then Silburn Show is connected in the UK, the people with the
I
passports.
get the picture. Yeah,
You get what I'm
man.
saying?
You're
So
right. I get the picture.
we
Yeah,
can
man.
put something together, and then we've got a power force. And then
Like,
the government goes, yeah,
until then, folks, stay in touch with us on social media. We need your
yes,
support out there as well. And I
yes.
agree. We're gonna talk about that. What do you call it, Silburn? A general?
Genogram, genogram,
It's a new word
genogram.
for me. We have to
Yes,
talk. Thanks much.
definitely. All right. Okay. So thank you so much, and
It was a
thank you for
pleasure.
everybody coming on.
Yeah.
Someone said how. Okay, let's just answer this question properly.
Sure.
How can we be a part of JAMP, even though
Well,
you can say it, and even though the numbers are running
I
across
am
there.
so deeply appreciative of that question. I can't tell you how
Yeah.
much. The truth is, the tool that we have built, it's really a good idea. Um, the only way it will work is if citizens use it. So that's the best way you can. Come on, leave your thoughts. Get in touch with us. Citizen write us, ask us questions. We get information for citizens. If you need us to show us how to use the ATI, we will. But following us on social media and giving us support there, liking the things, making a comment. Folks, our donor is primarily the European Union. We just finished a contract in December. We've started one again in March. So I just want to shout out to the EU for the support. But
Yes.
as well as you know, Silburn, one donor does not an advocate network make.
Yes.
So if there's any way you can help us financially as well,
Yes.
that is how. But using the tool would be the best way to really
Yes.
support what
Yes.
we do. Thanks a
And
lot.
and and I'm a rock who asked a question. As you can see, scrolling across, you got
Yeah,
all the different details there to contact Miss
fabulous.
Calder and to
Stay
contact
in
Jam,
touch.
which
Please
is
stay
there
in
for
touch.
you, and you can always
Yeah,
watch the replay and pick it up as well.
lovely.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of this Sunday. It's
Thanks,
hot.
man.
It's
Thanks.
daytime over here now. It's 10 o'clock over here. Have a good one.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye
Take good
bye.
care.
Thank
One
you very
love.
much. Okay.
Yeah,
Bye
man.
bye. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for joining tonight and this Sunday evening special, the late one with Miss Jeanette Calder from Advocacy, not Advocacy Network, from JAMP. And as you can see, what was broken down and what was set out was how one can be a part of the process. I set out the website and she went through it with the markers and the monitors and all the different meters. And it's for us. It's for us and for Jamaicans all over. Remember to share this video so other persons can actually be a part of the process without a doubt, and somehow can effect change, the change that they want to be, and not just sitting back and just say we can't do nothing. All right, so I want to thank you so much, and I want to wish you a good night, and see you Saturday, Thursday night and Wednesday night, as we see fit. Okay, God bless you. Bye bye.
Let's go.